Welcome to the Broadcast Podcast. I am Nazar, and today with me, I have a very special guest, Hassan
Hassan
Abbasi.
Abbasi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm so glad you came back for this episode because I wanted to talk about Evermore and Folklore with you for the longest time. And I'm glad that we have now the time to finally digest, discuss, and probably like get super deep into nerdy about it.
Super deep. It's going to get layers and layers and layers.
How did you feel about Folklore when it came out? Let's start really at the beginning. Back in July.
So when
you woke up on Thursday morning
and there was like Folklore was out.
Folklore was out.
I was like, this is perfect. Like I listened to the first song and I was like, this is what everyone needed.
Yes.
And during the pandemic, like it was like, I think the first song that I listened to was The One.
Yeah.
And even though like it's not that like, sad of a song, but I was like, you know what? I know like how the album's gonna go. Hopefully it goes the same way, and it went.
The thing is, I think in the last podcast when we did the Taylor Swift one, we talked about what we wanted her to do. Like Lover was good, but it wasn't really what I wanted from her. This is exactly
what we talked about.
That's so weird because we talked about it and we were like, I want her to go back to these really like rootsy guitarists. I think the word that we used was, and the song that we compared it to was the Hunger Games song.
The Hunger Games song, Safe and Sound.
Safe and Sound. And this is an album
the
full
whole
of...
album is full of safe and sounds. Yeah.
Like, this is exactly what we needed from Folklore. And then Evermore is just like...
Evermore is just...
on its own level, which we will get into like when we start comparing the albums. But the same thing with me, like I woke up Thursday morning, I saw her post. It was black and white. It was completely like monotonous, and like she had this whole thing going on where like, I'm releasing an album tomorrow, guys. It's like this whole thing. And I was like, no way. And just by the cover photos and the way that she was explaining her things, I was like, this is going to be great.
Yeah.
This is going to be, strip out everything from 1989 in Lover and Reputation. And just stick to the basics.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what she did. When this album came out, obviously nobody knew that it was coming out. It has 16 tracks. All of them entered the Billboard 100. The lead single, Cardigan, became the sixth number one single. Oh, wow. And when the album came out, it became her, I think, eighth number one album. Crazy stats. We're going to get into Evermore as well. Before Evermore, she released the Folklore Long Pond studio sessions, which I think, great live album.
Beautiful.
Really complements Folklore amazingly. And it has 16 tracks, all went into the Billboard Hot 100. Let's get into them, Hassan Abbasi.
Okay.
What were your standout tracks?
Okay, so
when you went into it, which one stood out immediately?
Like for Folklore, for me, I feel like, the top 5 songs for me would definitely like The One.
Yeah. The One was just, I think that's such a great opening to an album, to any Taylor Swift album. Like that's exactly, like her first line is about some new shit. What did she say?
Yeah. It's like,
wait, I have to pull it up. It's such a good opening, like to let her fans know where she is mentally. I'm doing good. I'm on some new shit.
Yeah.
That's the first thing you hear from Folklore. That's so powerful because you during the pandemic, everybody's like losing their minds. And they're like, I don't know what to do, who I am. We're going to get into that too. Like everybody's having an identity crisis because it's the switch of what we knew as normal was completely different. And she comes in and she says, I'm doing good. I'm on some new shit.
Yeah. Having adventures on my own.
Yes instead of no.
Yeah.
Having adventures on my own because of pandemic.
That's what people were doing. Yeah. It was,
Just that relatability factor that I think was missing from her music for a long time. Because I cannot relate
to Reputation
being pissed off at Kanye West.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't get that, but I can relate to this.
Yeah.
And hearing her say that like right off the bat was great. What did you think about it?
The same, like, the introduction, like as soon as I heard The One, I was like, this is going to be like, the album that we wanted.
I think you and I heard it together.
Yeah,
right?
I think we heard it together. I feel like
we did.
We went on a drive and we did. We went to the beach and then we listened to it together. Yeah. And like from the bat, like as soon as the album started, we were like, this is it. And then, it just kept getting better and better with like every song.
The thing is, with Folklore, especially, this is what a lot of people said when Evermore came out, that Folklore will always have a special place because of the way it was released. And when it was released.
Like it was mid-pandemic and like people had no idea what was going on. Like, if life was going to get back to normal or not. And then this was something that, and you could relate to it. Like, like everyone's going through the same thing.
And it was nice to hear from Taylor. Especially the way she introduced herself in this one. It was great. Immediately, unrequited love is like one of my favorite song topics ever. I can hear a sad heartbreak song 24 hours of the day. You know this. Like I put it on acoustic, one man, one woman. That's it. And this is exactly what the one was. Like it starts off with her being like melancholy and sad about someone that she couldn't be with. Wouldn't it be fun if you would have been the one? Right? That's it. Unrequited love. You can't
and
get that person.
Everyone like can relate to it to some level.
And the reason why I think this is such a good strong open of an album is because it's called The One and it's number one track list.
It's number one, And
then it's so different from all her previous opening albums. She's done Unrequited Love before as well in songs, and it's okay. This one sounded like it was a lot more fresh.
Like and it wasn't.
It's so weird because she's in a happy, loving relationship now.
Yes.
And yet she's found a spot for this kind of music where it really shines.
Mm-hmm.
It's really weird to me. Like when she wasn't in love, her music wasn't as sad.
Yeah. It was more like vengeful at that time, but now it's like more like she's thinking about all the stuff.
Empathetic, I think.
And
like she's found a way to like
be okay with it and be more sad than mad about her ex-lovers.
Like in Invisible Strings where she says like now I send
presents to the baby's presents.
Right? That's what she's come from 1989 where she makes fun of that her dating spree to Reputation where she's angry at it to Lover where she's like I don't really care about her anymore and now she's at a place where it happened.
I'm okay with it. It happened.
Okay. It's something that's in the past and it's time for me to move on, for me to grow. The woman's 31 and it kind of shows like just the maturity in her music. Like it's not like, oh my God, you're freaking Tilted Stage or whatever that was.
All of that.
It's more about how I've let go of my grievances.
And now she's like more content than
Content is a good word because that's what I felt about this album. Even though it was very sad, Folklore was. Evermore is even worse.
Evermore is
it will tear you apart. But Folklore had its moments of happiness. Like you go to like Mirrorball, not a sad song. Last Great American Dynasty.
That is a really good storytelling and everything in that song.
And but then you have your moments of sadness, like which is Hoax, Peace,
My Tears,
Exile,
Ricochet.
My Tears, Ricochet. So as you go down the album, what song stood out to you? You were saying your top 5.
Okay, so like all the songs like in the album were really, really, really good. And I like this is probably like one of her first albums that I liked every single song.
Really?
Yeah.
No bad song for you.
I don't think so. Like
Mad Woman.
There were some songs that it took me some time to get used to, but I still like them.
Yep.
So for me, like the top 5 would be, I would say like The One on top, and then 7. I like 7 a lot.
7 is your number 2.
7 is my number 2. Yes. Like 7 had a lot
7 really shows her falsetto.
Yeah.
Like the way that she really brings out that. She doesn't really do that in a lot of her music. So it's a very unique song in that way.
It is a very unique song. And then Exile, definitely. Exile was such a good song.
That conversation that they're having at the end.
Proper. Like,
they're saying the same things, but they have completely different connotations.
Yeah. It's like you see their whole relationship breaking apart.
In that one moment. That's so true.
Yeah. It's like watching a movie, but
hearing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. Exile is amazing.
Exile, yeah. And then Hoax. Hoax, it's a it's a very dark song. And I feel like she put up all her like dark feelings and like emotions perfectly in that song.
Yeah.
It wasn't vengeful. It's not but it's still, it feels like she's telling you a story about how she feels in like a certain moment.
Yeah. I appreciate Hoax.
Yeah.
I think for me, what do you think about Betty though?
I like
What did
Betty.
you think about the trilogy of those songs? Like August, Betty, and Cardigan?
August, and Betty, like I loved all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like Cardigan stood out the most in all 3 of them.
Lead single,
Yeah. And it could be just a song by itself. Like it doesn't have to be in a trilogy. Like it could just be like Cardigan and you would get like what, the story that she's trying to tell you. I liked Betty a lot too. And August, I feel like out of these 3, Cardigan, Betty, and then August.
Yeah.
Like Cardigan would be my favorite, and then.
But what
Betty,
did you think about the story that she was telling?
That was so good. Like,
did you relate to any of it? Have you ever been in a position where you're like James, like, oh my God, 2 women?
I feel like not specifically like that, but
there have been moments.
Okay,
every time you come on here, you say something controversial about your own personal life, and that's fine. It's part of the podcast now. But for me, like those 3 songs. really showed, like, I think in the last podcast I also said that she's like the storyteller of her generation.
Yeah.
She is the Bruce Springsteen of our time.
Yeah.
And it shows so much in this record, and even in the next one, even more so. But like just the way that she subjected those 3 songs, made a linear storyline that you can literally follow from August to Cardigan. That's just, pop artists don't do that anymore.
That's
like
true.
you don't see that from your Shawn Mendes, your Justin Bieber's, your I don't know, like who are Ariana Grande.
Yeah.
Like Ariana Grande made a concept album about her breakups.
It was again like very.
It was
like,
too on the nose.
Yeah, like
I couldn't get into it in the way that I'm getting into these stories.
Yeah, these stories, like you actually like, you're like, you can relate to it a little bit.
And like the way that she told the story of the last great American dynasty,
that
Rebecca's story.
Yeah, the Rebecca story, like you wouldn't expect it, like it from anyone.
And the best part about that was the twist at the end.
Yeah.
Where she's like,
she brings herself in.
Yeah, the house stood alone for 50 years. And then she tells these amazing stories about this house, these parties that happened, the men that were there that passed away or whatever, and how she got blamed for everything. And then she twists it in such a beautiful way where she brings herself in as the new owner. Everything that happened to Rebecca applies to her immediately.
Yeah. And I was like, you know what? And it's a real story.
It's that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
It's the real story of the house that she owns.
Yeah.
And the way that she found a way to connect those 2 dots, it's just beautiful.
That is just beautiful.
That's what I'm saying. This is the album that Swifties needed, deserved.
I feel like everyone needed this album. Like I'm pretty sure a lot of people converted after listening to this.
A lot of people converted. Yes, that's true. A lot of people did convert, and a lot of people still didn't convert.
Yeah,
because if you're not gonna be into the Swiftie mindset, then you're not gonna be into it. But this album, it's different in the way that it's not a typical pop record. Like I don't know if any of these songs can play on the radio.
Yeah, like all that.
These are not radio hit songs.
These are deep songs.
And yet they still top the number one.
Yeah.
Her album goes number one. Cardigan is the number 1 song.
Yeah.
Off this album. Like these are still hit songs. And that's only Taylor Swift can do that.
Yeah.
That's what I love about her.
Yeah.
That she has the power to like take something that's, like not mainstream and make it mainstream. Like Bon Iver is popular.
He is, but
no, had you ever heard of him before?
I had never heard of any of his songs before,
right?
And now I'm like, oh wow,
right? And the thing is, he's everywhere. He does songs with Kanye. He does songs with Eminem. Like he's great, and his own like Bon Iver stuff is amazing. The thing is, he's not mainstream, so he's not. You have to really look and dig to find him. You have to
know like what you're looking for.
Yes,
yeah.
And her bringing Bon Iver on, and doing a couple of songs with him in these albums, like that just shows that she was a fan of his before he was a fan of hers. It really shows on this album because this is like an attempt to make a Bon Iver album. All his songs are like this, like the folklore cabin wood, winter, fall vibe, and that's what she was going for. And I think she nailed it.
She did. She definitely did.
What else? What else stood out on this album for you?
I feel like
because you listen to it a lot.
I listen to it a lot. This was on my Spotify
Wrapped,
top. 2 of them, like Cardigan and the one they both showed up.
Yeah,
that and I feel like my Tears Ricochet.
The thing about My Tears Ricochet that I think I'll catch some flack for now. I didn't get into that song. I thought it was sad for the sake of being sad. That's the one criticism I have on this album.
Yeah,
some of these songs are sad for the sake of being sad. Like it just on purpose are sad. I don't think. I don't know. Explain your love for My Tears Ricochet.
So like for she has a lot of like vengeful songs where like she brings out her past and like talks about it.
Yeah.
In this song, it's more of like what was the consequence of the bad stuff that happened to her. Like it's usually like bad stuff happened to me, like I'm the victim and all that. In this one, she's saying, okay, I was the victim, but then your actions had actions, like your actions have reactions.
Yeah.
To yourself too. Like she's talking about the person and saying that you messed me up. But then at what cost, right? It messed us up and you up. Yeah.
Okay. I think the grievance that I have with that song, I don't think it's more with the messaging. I think it's just the way it's presented. I don't like the sparseness of it.
It is a bit harsh. It is like,
there's too much space in it. And then just the line, My Tears Ricochet, like, okay, I get it. Your tears are like hitting things and they're falling, and I get that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It doesn't do it for me.
It's like more of a like, okay, I got hurt and I've moved on, but you got hurt by that too, right? And I feel like that's better in saying that, like, I was the victim. In this one, okay, I was, like she's saying, because a lot of her songs you can see like, she's playing the victim. And she has been, like, you know, in a lot of situations. But in this one, she's like, okay, I was the victim, but it wasn't just me.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you
She's
ended
being
up facing
empathetic,
the
like the entire album she is. I think the standout for me on Folklore though, which is a great album. I still think Evermore is better, and we'll get to it in a minute. It has to be Invisible String.
Invisible String is a really,
I think
really,
that's the
really,
common
really good
thread.
song.
No pun intended. Throughout both of their albums, her music video starts with an Invisible String. Cardigan ends with Evermore's. Willow's Invisible String in that video as well. That is if you were to say the thesis of both of these albums, it's that Invisible String. Like the whole, you know, when people say, "Oh my God, fate was involved and I fell in love" or whatnot. That's an accurate representation
of that
whole concept of this of both of these albums. Like some sort of invisible string had to come into play for her to release these albums. Like the pandemic had to happen
for this album
for her to find the space to create something like this. Like if it was a normal world, she'd be touring Lover, and Lover she would still be in that Lover state. And I'm glad that she had the opportunity to go through like this phase. I very much prefer this era because, you know, she goes through eras.
She does.
The 1989 was a whole era, and then Reputation was a whole black and white era, and Lover was all pastel, like, you know, unicorn throwing up. It was like
Reputation and Lover were like opposite ends.
Yeah, but they were all whole eras, right? Yeah, I think this is
like the my sweet favorite in era between,
of Taylor Swift. Yeah, and Invisible Strings I think is the perfect example of that. Just that, I think it's the standout song for me. It has the right pacing. It has the right message. It's sweet. It's sour a little bit when she talks about, you know, cold was this the axe to grind or whatever.
Now I send her
and there's some baby. Like that's full circle moment for me.
It is.
And
it is.
I totally respect that. I totally appreciate that. For me, that was a standout. Mirrorball was amazing. Anything that had like drums in the album, I think stood out because of the lack of it. And so much of Folklore. Like most of her stuff was because she did it alone, right? So it was just her on a guitar, piano, and Dessner sending her stuff, and her just putting words on it.
The way they did it too, like, you know, everyone was like in
we should talk about that. Like they didn't meet up until that documentary. That's like that's how do you make music like that? I don't know. Like I try to send Kendrick tracks and I don't hear it for like 6 months because like,
and then it's just like,
so hard to match timing and write stuff together. I don't know how she did it. It's only a Taylor Swift thing, but yeah, like the way that this album was created, the way that Evermore was created too. Like that's just a testament of her artistry. What else do I like on this album? Illicit Affairs I think is really good. I think that's more of a personal. Some of the songs are personal as well, and I feel like Illicit Affairs is one of those.
It's a very personal
where she has to hide her relationship with Joe
from the world and everything. And
like, you know, it seems like an illicit affair, but they're even though
actually just together.
They're just together. Like whatever that case is, it feels so wrong in her situation because of who she is. That one resonated with me. This Is Me Trying was a good sad moment. But I think the one in Exile probably. Exile was something that
was like it wasn't expected at all.
It was not expected. She did a very good job, but then when Bon Iver starts the song, that, you know, he's owning it.
And it's such a weird combination. Like you would never.
His voice is so deep. His voice even though he sings so high in most of the stuff. Most of his famous songs that are well known by people, his voice is falsettoing. Like Holocene, Skinny Love. He's screaming, belting in those songs. But in Exile, his voice is the lowest it can humanly possibly be. And it scares me.
It is. It gives you the chills.
It gives you it feels like someone who's broken.
You can feel the pain in, like, you know, in his voice.
Accurate reaction. Accurate representation of a complete breakup from both sides.
Exactly.
I dig it. I totally love it. And then also stand out for me was The Lakes.
The Lakes is a good song.
I think just the literary themes in that song where she's talking about those poets that come to pass and all that. I relate to that the poetry personally.
In that, and then, you know, the whole like going over like, you know, to a lake house and like writing songs over there. That's just the dream, like man. That's literally the dream.
And I gotta give The Lakes the shout out. I think it's beautiful. It's brilliant. And then a few months later, after we were still not over Folklore,
and then
we got another announcement from Taylor Swift about Evermore. And between the two, I'll say right off the bat, I think Evermore is the better album for me, which is weird because when we made our like final Everlore Folkmore the album, the one list, ultimate album, I had more Folklore songs than Evermore songs, but I still think Evermore is the better album.
Is the better album. Okay.
What are your thoughts on Evermore?
I think like for me, Folklore is better.
Why?
I think it's more of like because of the time when it came out and like the way I listened to it.
Yeah.
Like Evermore is still really fresh.
Yeah.
Like like how you said, like, you know, we weren't over Folklore.
Yeah.
I was still like, you know, that was my best, like, you know, the album going on right now.
Yeah.
And then just like Evermore came out and it just like, you know, it was just I feel like it was a lot of songs to go through.
Yeah, it was 31 songs, bro.
Yeah, but I still like really, really, really loved Evermore. But Folklore, I feel like I already have like like even though it's been like a few months, like a sense of nostalgia to it. Like
already,
I
just
feel like I listened to it and I was like, oh, like, you know, I listened to it in July when the pandemic was like still, and nothing has changed. But like, you know, there was hope back then.
There was hope.
Like stuff's gonna get better.
What happened? Why is there no hope?
Now it's just like, you know, continuity, and then I love Evermore, but for me I feel like Folklore is better because like I related to the songs a lot more. Like for me I have to listen to the songs like, you know, multiple times for me, like to have an attachment.
Yeah.
And I feel like with Folklore I have a lot more attachment than Evermore.
Let me put you in the future for like 6 months now. Yeah. Right. The Moderna vaccine is here. You got it. I've got it. Right. Everything is good. Summertime. It's great. Evermore is going to be what, 6 months old, 7 months old by the time. Do you think that you'll have the same attachment to Evermore 7 months from now that you have for Folklore right now?
I feel like it might be the same, like, you know, it might change at that time.
Yeah.
Because right now it's still really fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, like as soon as I heard Evermore, minus Willow, I don't like Willow. I still don't like Willow. Apart from that, I think starting off from like Champagne Problems all the way down to like Evermore itself. I haven't heard the bonus tracks yet, so I'm not going to talk about them. But from 2 to 15, that's it, bro. I feel like she wanted to release Evermore.
Yeah.
Evermore was supposed to be Folklore.
Okay.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because Evermore has more folk elements than Folklore does.
It does.
And
that's true.
It's heartbreaking. This album is truly heartbreaking. If there's ever a heartbreak album, breakup album, a sad album that I've heard, it has to be Evermore.
It has.
Starting from Champagne Problems, which is just the worst setup ever, where the girl is going on to this party to break up with the guy,
and the guy wants to propose.
Guy is going to propose. How does that even happen?
It does though. Like people are never like, you know, there's a lot of times when the closest people that you have, and you are not on the same track and you don't even know.
Okay, but I'm just saying, let's say you're not on the same wavelength with someone. How does it even... So how different of a track do you have to be on where the guy is ready to get married and the girl is ready to like leave?
I feel like if you're having problems, like the guy wants to fix the problems and he seems like the best solution for it is to like, you know, just tie the knot.
Which is never the best solution.
Which is never, and the girl has given up at this point. Like, you know, when you reach that point when you're like, you know, it's gonna be better. It like, you know, we can fix this. It's gonna get better. But one person just gives up.
I've been in that situation before. I'm not gonna lie, but my reaction was not to put myself on one knee and be like, "Will you marry me?"
Yeah.
My reaction was like, "Let's talk about it."
Yeah, like that. I feel like happens in a lot of these, like, you know, like proposals that end up in the wrong way.
Yeah.
It's like the guy trying to, like, you know, that's the easy way out, just to fix it. Just be like, you know, just tie the knot and then we can figure it out.
Have you seen the Bollywood film Tamasha?
I think I might have. I don't remember.
In that, actually, you know what? I remember that we saw it and you slept through it.
It might have
happened.
It was
right here. It happened like, right here.
I was like, I remember watching it, but I don't know what happens in
that
the movie.
That happens.
Yeah.
So
really?
Rami Kapoor's character is trying to propose to Deepika, and she's like, "What
and she's like, yeah,
no, that's not. We're not there yet." I like also how her female characters, I think they're very honestly represented. Like in the bridge of that song, she says, people like started pitying this girl.
Yeah.
Like what she would have made a beautiful bride, so sad that she's effed in the head. That's literally what we say when a marriage or a breakup happens. Like 9 out of 10 times society blames the woman.
The woman, yeah.
And I thought she represented that really well without being like super blatant about it.
Yeah.
I thought that was very well handled. I mean, she's a great storyteller.
Yeah.
She's a great character songwriter. Nobody judged that at all. What's the funniest thing about both of these albums, both of these projects, is that the best songs for me were mostly co-written with William Bowery.
Yeah.
Champagne Problems, the William Bowery song. Evermore, Exile, William Bowery. Like, I didn't even know. Like, even Coney Island is William Bowery. Did you know that? I was shocked. I was like, every song that's like killing me from the inside is...
It's with him.
It's with him. Like, I want to hear his album now. What's going on with him? There were moments in Folklore that were poppy, happy.
They were.
I like them.
Yeah.
I think none stands closer to it as Gold Rush. I think Gold Rush is a brilliant song.
A really, really, really good song. Yeah.
I mean, in this album, she collaborated less with Jack Antonoff.
Yeah.
It's a more of an Aaron Dessner Swift album.
Yeah.
But the few songs that Dessner shows up in, the Antonoff shows up in, they're great. Gold Rush. Yeah. I love Gold Rush. 'Tis the Damn Season.
Tis the Damn Season is a really...
I love that this album came out 2 weeks before Christmas because I was jamming with that song all the way to Christmas Eve, Christmas, and Boxing Day.
Yeah.
I think it's the saddest. I love sad Christmas songs. Christmas Lights by
Coldplay, and then
John Mayer's St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, St. Patrick's Day.
Horribly sad songs.
Yeah.
Love them. I think Christmas is such a happy, weird... I mean, we don't celebrate it, but lights and all that.
Yeah.
It's so weird to have like a completely depressing song that's supposed to be for a happy season. I think that's...
Yeah. But like there's a lot of people who go through depression during this time too.
Yeah, seasonal depression.
Seasonal depression comes over, and like even for Christmas and stuff, like not everyone's happily celebrating it. And these songs help, I feel like, those people out, right?
Hey, it helps me out. I'm not even celebrating it. Yeah. I also think like for 'Tis the Damn Season, it's just I love the desperation that people have in these. I mean, I don't love that people are desperate in these times. Don't cancel me.
Yeah.
But I love that the way that these songs show the desperation of people that might just want to be like, stay with me for like 2 more weeks. Let's get past New Year's.
Even. Yeah, like, you know.
Yeah. Just for the weekend, right?
Just it's the damn season. For the weekend, yeah. Like everyone has someone. So like, yeah.
Yeah, why don't you have it for me?
Yeah.
Going down the list, Tolerated. Another one that I can't listen to, completely crushes me.
It's a very, very, very sad
The good
song.
moment on this album, right after Tolerated, is Nobody No Crime.
Nobody No Crime is such a good song.
It's stuck in my head. He did
it. It is. Yeah, he did.
He did it. It's stuck in my head.
Such good storytelling.
It's beautiful. Yeah. Like I never thought I'd be invested in a Gone Girl-ish song.
Yeah, that kind of. And it was unexpected.
Yeah. I think this is the closest that she goes to her country roots. I think Nobody No Crime. Happiness, Dorothea, Coney Island. Oh.
Coney Island, like
Ivy.
Yeah.
Cowboy Like Me, Long Story Short. Closure, Evermore. I mean, it's just this album is the album for me. I think of 2020. I think this is something that I will be listening to over and over again. Not to quote Coney Island.
Yeah.
What stands out for you?
Okay, for me, I know you don't like Willow, but like I really love that song. That's like that has to be like, you know, my top song for Evermore. It's a really cute song, and the whole like, you know, how it connects to Cardigan, and then I know like that gets a bit annoying, but it is a cute song. Like, you know, from her in this album, that's one of the happy songs, and like I feel like it's really good.
Okay, yeah, I mean I can see why people like it. I grew on me too.
And all like, you know, the music video too, all those like, you know, like her Easter eggs from like past videos and like, you know, all that.
I really like that the music video starts where
as soon as Cardigan ends. I love really that. Sweet. I was like, you know, that makes it proper. Like, you know, like she never said, like I feel like she has said these are sister albums, but like, you know, this connects it. And the golden string going through it, and
which just goes to show when Evermore came out, when Folklore came out, she knew that Evermore was coming out.
Yeah, she knew it was going to
because the music video ends.
And it literally starts
and then
with
Evermore. Willow starts.
Yeah.
What else?
Okay, so that and Happiness. Happiness has to be like, you know, my second top.
We were just talking about it.
Yeah, it's a really good sad song. There's a lot like
what's
you
happening?
can relate to it. I feel
why are you relating to Happiness?
It's a good sad song. Like it's something that you listen to.
Okay. Don't know is the question. Where are you specifically relating to Happiness?
A lot of places.
Why?
She talks about reinvention. I feel like a lot of people during the pandemic went through that.
Oh really?
Like, you know, like overthinking. She talks about overthinking in the song. She talks about that, and then the whole fact that she's complacent in the relationship. Like, you know, there's happiness with you, but there will be happiness without you. Like, I feel like in this song, she's like at the end of a relationship where she's like, okay, I'm okay to move on now.
Yeah.
Like, I know there's gonna be a sad part, but there will be happiness after, like, you know,
How
a
do you,
certain time.
again? How does that fit into your narrative?
Like the whole talking
As
about
you,
there
Hassan.
was some like, you know, there was a lot of overthinking during this pandemic, right? And then the whole I love her, like, you know, like the part where she's like, I haven't met the new me yet.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you don't know what you want to change about yourself. You just know you need a change in life, right?
Yeah.
And that I noticed with, like, personally speaking, I think I went through that during the pandemic. I was like,
Yeah.
you know what? Something has to change. Like, because I feel like it had to do with a lot, like externally, nothing was changing.
Yeah.
It was the same routine. You wake up, you do nothing, you go to bed.
That's a
Literally
very
for
good way
months
to put
on
it.
months. Like, and especially coming from, like, you know, before this, like our lives were hectic. Like we were like constantly commuting to school. Even like school felt like it was not like you would wake up, you would turn on, open your laptop, do the lecture, close it, and then nothing.
Yeah, online school was a scam.
Like literally a scam.
Yep.
It just went through. You just went through it. So
you think happiness represented that moment for you the best?
For me, yes, it represented the whole, like, there's not much changing, but I need to change something about me to have a change in life, but I don't know what to change. So, like, you know, when she says I haven't met the new me yet, and then later she's like, maybe the new me is gonna be like that, maybe the new me is gonna be like this. So I feel like that was like super relatable, and I just like caught on because I listened to this song, like, you know, driving and like passing, and then a few days ago I was just listening to the lyrics and I was like, oh wow, that's what's going on actually. Like, you know, like I can't face reinvention because I don't even know what to change about myself. Yeah.
Okay, that's a good reason to. So would you, when you introduce someone to these albums, would you introduce them first and foremost to happiness, or would you like save that for a while?
No, I was like, I think the way the album was released, it was a good, like, you know, order.
Yeah.
Because if they listen to happiness, they'll be like, oh, this is a sad,
what the album
sad,
sounds
sad
like.
album.
Okay.
But if you start with Below, they're like, you know, they ease into it.
Yeah.
And then like imagine if you just throw Coney Island to someone, like the first song, they're like, I don't want to go through it.
You know what? Coney Island was, apart from Willow, I heard Willow and then I heard Coney Island.
Yeah.
And I was like, geez.
Like it gets deep, it gets dark. Like
I love it.
ASAP. Like, yeah. So I feel like if you're introducing someone to Taylor Swift, you have to ease into it. Yeah. Like it's not all sad, because it's not all sad. It's just these two albums. Yeah. Like she's had sad songs, but they were all like poppy or like, you know, revengeful and all that. Yeah.
Damn, listen.
It's a deep cut. Like happiness is a deep cut. Yeah.
Happiness hits you right in the spot. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
For me, I felt exactly like that with Coney Island. I felt like Coney Island was the most accurate representation of a regretful relationship. Not in the sense that I'm sad that I went through it, more in a way that I'm sad that I couldn't save it. And that hit me the most. Like the way that song starts with like sitting on the bench in Coney Island, and then this whole song happens. Yeah. And when the song ends, you're like, oh, he's still sitting on that bench. It's a completely different.
It's a completely, It's a whole, like, again, like a whole movie goes through that song.
Yeah.
Like there's so much happens.
I love the Nationals, his voice, his vocals on it. So good. So good. I'm forgetting what the guy's name is. It's a really hard name, but his voice and Bon Iver's voice matches. Matt Berninger, sorry. Berninger. I don't know. Their voice matches Taylor Swift so well. Yeah. I think it's a good compliment, them two. Bon Iver and Matt. Other songs that stood out, title track Evermore, I think that's the best. Yeah. Out of the two albums, Evermore is the best. In my opinion. I think
makes sense.
The song I'm talking about, I think the piano line on that, it's beautiful. The way she's singing it is so soft, delicate, and at the same time rough. It's hopeless, and then it's hopeful.
And then hopeful. That's what I liked about Evermore too. Yeah.
Because it would have been such a punch in the balls if she ended at that.
Kept on going, the pain will be forevermore.
Forevermore. And then I'm so glad she said the pain wouldn't be forevermore.
It feels like in the song she has the realization that it's not gonna go on forever.
Yeah, that's life, man. Yeah. That is literally
life.
Life. That you sometimes are kicked into the ground.
But you know it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt like hell. But it's gonna get better. Yeah. Slowly, but it will. Yeah.
I love that message. Yeah. I'm so glad the album ends on that. I think that's the most powerful song on both of the albums. Yeah. I also love the time signature change that happens in the middle. Like it's a soft ballad, and then it goes into like
Into
when Bon Iver comes. Again, they have that conversation that they're having. When I was shipwrecked, I thought of you. Oh my God, I love that line.
Yeah.
I think that's my favorite. Like, we were talking about lyrical moments in a bit, but that for me is my favorite part. When I was shipwrecked, I thought of you.
I thought of you.
It's so blatantly honest and like vulnerable. I love it.
It just
Evermore for me
all the feels,
does it. All of the feels at once. Yeah. So you said that Evermore is. You said Folklore is the superior album to Evermore.
For me, like until now. I feel like I need to give Evermore like a little bit.
So
more
let's say
time.
if we come back like 2 years from now.
I think
we do another
it might have
follow-up
changed.
pod.
It literally might change at that point, because like then I feel like I'm gonna relate so much Folklore to just like the pandemic part of it. Evermore came out at the time and like this is the new normal now.
Yes,
like it's there's no anticipation. There's nothing you know, like stuff isn't changing for a while.
Yeah.
So I feel like this came out more in a normal way. Like Folklore came like when you were already down, and it just like it was perfect to like I want to be down and just listen to it and enjoy being down.
For me, it was like, okay,
yeah.
Here's the thing. Everybody that sort of follows the music industry kind of had an inkling that maybe Taylor Swift is going to release some new music. After Folklore came out, people were like, this is it. She's not releasing music for 2 years. This is the era that we're going to be in. And then when she dropped Evermore, I feel like Evermore was a bigger surprise than Folklore was.
Because you weren't expecting it at all. Like, you know, for like she does this, she just like her even Reputation was like a surprise release, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Like she deleted all her Instagram. It was just like a snake going on.
Clean slate, brand new thing.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like Evermore was a better surprise.
Evermore was because you know, people don't do
after
that.
After Folklore came out, you're like, okay, that's it.
That's it. Like for a few more years, you don't like you know, even for like a couple of years, you don't expect something.
The thing is, Folklore also had like 16 songs.
It did, and
it was a whole
it was a whole album.
And this one is another 17 songs.
Yeah, 17 songs.
So like the most productive person ever was Taylor Swift.
She was like, I have time and I'm gonna do what I do best.
Yeah,
and then she did it.
She killed it.
Yeah,
she killed it. I think both of these albums, Folklore lands her the Grammy.
Definitely.
Folklore gives her the Grammy. She hasn't won a Grammy since 1989, I think.
Yeah.
And it's been, what, 6-7 years?
It's been a long time.
This is it. Folklore gets her the Grammy. Album of the Year. I'm pretty sure she gets it.
Yeah.
I can bet a lot of money on that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe they swing it for diversity.
Yeah.
Give it to someone else. But it deserves it.
Yeah, it does.
What else do we want to talk about? All right. So the ultimate.
Yeah.
I told you to make a playlist of
like
the ultimate Folklore.
Album.
I called it the Folkmore Evermore album.
Folkmore Evermore. Yeah, that was.
So if Folklore and if you had all of these 36, 37 songs and you were supposed to make one album out of it of 14 songs, what would you make?
Okay.
What is your ultimate Folklore Evermore?
14 songs. It would have The One.
Okay, that's your number one song.
Yeah.
This is on order of track listing.
I guess, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I looked at Folklore before and then I looked at like you know Evermore. Yeah. So it might be like that. Okay. But yeah. But I think The One, Cardigan, and then The Last Great American Dynasty. I feel like that's
literally the start of Folklore.
Yeah. That's like the really good storytelling song, and that's how you get into the fact that there's going to be a lot of songs like this.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
I agree with that. That's a good start. That's literally the start of Folklore too. I'm just looking at that.
It is. And then it's 7.
Okay.
It's just like, you know, a really cute song.
Yeah, then, I like 7.
And then Hoax, you get into like, you know, the deep stuff.
The deep stuff.
Yep. And Invisible String.
Yeah.
And then Willow.
Okay. So now you're into Evermore territory.
Yep. Willow, Tolerated.
Uh-huh. I didn't put that in my list.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't.
Tolerated. Tis the Damn Season.
Yep.
No Body, No Crime.
Okay, good. Okay. I didn't have room for that song. I wish really? I could. I couldn't put it in anywhere.
I was like, this would be really good with The Last Great American Dynasty. Like, you know, they're both like storytelling songs.
Very good storytelling songs, yeah.
Yeah. And then Happiness. Definitely.
Sure.
Evermore.
Yeah.
And Coney Island.
Your album ends on Coney Island.
Yeah.
You didn't put Exile in it.
Oh.
See, it's a lot harder than it was.
Yeah, like I
told you. I told you it's a lot harder.
This isn't completely. Yeah, Exile was supposed to be.
You could put that as like a bonus track.
Yeah, Exile was supposed to be in between Last Great American Dynasty and 7.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I feel like then there's a bit more stronger of an album.
Then it's yeah.
That's a great album. I think I would listen to that. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of songs that I liked on both of the albums.
Yeah.
And then there was just some that are still skippable for me, like Mad Woman. I can't.
Mad Woman
I don't get Mad Woman. Epiphany, it's okay. I don't.
Epiphany I didn't like in the beginning at all.
Yeah.
But then like when I listened when we watched the thing together, the live album,
sessions,
and I was like, okay, so this is what she means by that song. Like I didn't connect the dots, and then I was like, okay, now it's giving me goosebumps.
What did she mean by that song?
Like it was connected, like she was relating it to her grandfather in the World Wars, right? And the nurses going through the whole
pandemic.
the pandemic, yeah.
And then you're just yeah.
You're like, okay, this makes so much more sense, because before I just thought it's just a war song, right?
Yep.
A story about war not having breaks and all that. I was like, okay, now like if she's
same thing,
yeah,
for both
same
of them.
thing's happening right now.
For me, like I don't want to hear a song that reminds me of the pandemic.
Yeah,
I think that's the main thing. Even though these songs are sad in their own ways, I don't think any of them remind me of the pandemic. So that's why I love them. I think that's the reason why Epiphany doesn't do it for me. So like there are a couple of songs in that album on what's it called, Evermore. There's a few songs that also are skippable. Because if you're releasing 37 songs, they can't all be good.
Yeah,
there's gonna be skippable moments. For me, my ultimate Everlore album, I wrote it on a notebook too, because I wanted it to be
like, you know,
folklore.
Yeah.
It starts again, The One. I think The One's a great opening album. And then I go straight into Champagne Problems. I think that's a great number 2 song. Like you said, if you want to know what this album is going to be about, you first let the people know that you're doing good. You're on some new shit.
Yeah.
And then you go into Champagne Problems.
Into it,
and then immediately you're like,
what is going on?
And then once you ease into them in Champagne Problems, you hit them with August, Betty, and Cardigan.
Yeah.
The trilogy of
it's like
the
a whole
big story that you're trying to tell
yeah.
in the album.
Yeah.
And then you go into your own personal things, which is illicit affairs. And then you talk about Christmas, tis the damn season. And then you break everyone's hearts with Coney Island.
Yeah.
And then now when everybody's depressed and want to kill themselves, you go right into Gold Rush, because that's more of a pickup.
That's a very like
pick me up song with the whole drums and the moment. I love her flow in that. I think that's a great song. Quite underrated. And then you lay them with the big hits, with Exile, with Bon Iver, Invisible Strings, which I still think is, I think, number 2 after Evermore.
Yeah.
And the Pantheon of her.
Yeah.
Mirrorball, to let things, again, cheer up a little bit. Then you hit them with Ivy and Evermore.
That is actually really good. I would love that album. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I said bonus track, The Lakes. I think The Lakes is a great bonus track bonus track song. This would be my, like, if I was a record head and I was like, you have these 37 songs, I think this should be the album. I had 8 folklore songs and 6 Evermore songs, which is weird. Again, I still think Evermore is the better album.
Yeah.
But if I were to make an Everlore Folkmore album, this would be it.
I think for me, I had more Evermore songs.
You did?
Yeah, I did.
That's so weird.
I did. It is weird.
That's so weird, because you liked Folklore more.
I like Folklore more, but the songs that I like in Folklore more like outweigh like the songs that I like in,
Yeah, I get that. I get that.
In Folklore, there were some skippable songs, like even Peace. Peace, I feel like was a bit.
I like Peace. I just like the guitar part in Peace.
Yeah,
I think it's
like musically it's good, but like the song itself, I feel like it's a bit, again, harsh. And in Evermore, there's a song. What was it? It's the Closure.
Yeah,
like that's
Closure,
a bit harsh.
I also skip Marjorie.
Marjorie too. Marjorie's a really cute song. Like I
but I like your grandma.
I saw like when I listened to the song, I was like, who's it about? Like, is it like like Epiphany? Like, is she talking? And then I watched the video. I was like, okay, this makes it such a cute song. Like,
you thought she looked like her nanny.
She looks a lot like her nanny. Like you could pull that person up and say, you're related to Taylor Swift. Definitely you're related to Taylor Swift.
She was funny thing is I was listening to her podcast and her aunt, her grandma was also like a singer and actress and stuff
she
like
she was.
So it's in the genes.
Yeah.
All right. So we're coming towards the end of the pod, Hassan. What is the last thing that you would want people of our podcast to know about Folklore, Taylor Swift? What are your finishing thoughts before you leave us?
I feel like both of these albums like are a really, really, really good representation of like what people are going through. Like you don't have to relate to the songs specifically. Like there's a lot of love songs in it, as like as there always are. But even in those songs, you can relate to stuff that's going through you. Like you don't even have to find it. Like I would just be listening to a song and I was like, oh shit, like, I was going through something like that, and now like it's in a song like that we talked about. I was like, sometimes I feel like
she's listening. She's
the songs are getting way too personal. I was like, hold up.
How does she know this?
How does she know this?
Am I Truman?
Like specifically, like in one of the songs, she goes like, I've been down since July. Like it's a great November. I was like, that happened. I was like, school's opening up. I don't want go back to it in the way we were going back to it. And yeah, I feel like anyone can find, like, even like, like our friend Mohsen, like he doesn't like, he's not a big Taylor Swift
But
fan,
he appreciated it.
but yeah, he appreciates it. Like you can relate to some, like, anyone can relate to any songs or like going on.
Yeah, for me, I think Taylor Swift is like the quintessential artist of our generation. Like there's no denying it. And I'm just really glad that she came out with this album, where in her legacy, I think this will stand out to be a moment in time where she just outdid herself. I think I can recommend these albums more to every non-Taylor Swift fan, because we have a few that are probably going to watch this and shit on this. But it's absolutely amazing. Like the way that she just took literary themes straight out of novels and people's lives and stuck them into beautiful songs that will stay on forever. It's a testament to her, testament to her craft. These albums will be on repeat for a long time in my life, for you as well. Yeah. And yeah, I'm just glad that we had this gift. I literally think it's a gift. I cannot say more great things about Evermore and Folklore. Great albums. What's your finishing thought before we leave? Do you want to give any message? Where can people find you?
People can find me anywhere they want. I'm everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
Oh my God. TikTok. We do have a TikTok star. That's true. So yeah, Hassan Abbasi, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I was looking forward to this podcast since the album, even for Folklore. I was like, we have to do this. Like,
so that's it. I'm glad we didn't do it just for Folklore, because then Evermore dropped. And then we just got both of them done together. I think this could be a tradition, man. Every time Swift drops an album, we'll have you back. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Hassan, for coming. And I'll see you in 5 minutes.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.